Welcome to my podcast. Today I'm going to share with you another important topic that we all know. It's like a crisis, especially with the displaced people on the world around and everywhere. There's a lot of people who apply for asylum, and they've been granted either humanitarian protection or a refugee status. So in that concept, the GP can be either specialized with this area or can be in contact with certain clinics which deal with this kind of thing, or just simply a patient will show up and is in that sort of the category. So we need to know about refugee health and how can we deal with it in order to make things easier for them and understand the situation. So the first thing we know that interpreter should be an accredited person and not a family member that who understands the language in order to be not biased. Also, we need to be mindful for the family health literacy and the language used. And we need to understand if there's any chronic or a new raised morbidity, and we don't need to assume anything in order to help or to convey. Also, we need to develop like a repertoire for the culture imperative in order and understand their situation when they attend the GP practice, and how the culture practice can intersect with the health and development and mental health well-being. And we need also to address certain social determinant, like for instance, if they are living in a suitable accommodation, if they need any social support, also about education and income security. So all of those we need to address. Also about the cost of utility and transportation, food, medicine, and access to a local community service for recreation, learning, and enjoyment, like we all know here in the UK. And also if there is any issue related to their visa or to reunion, we need to know all of to address those points as well. So it's multi-dimensional, like focus or lens on the person as a whole, and you can't just ignore part of it. And if they have children or adolescents, we need to also review if there is any emerging difficulty that could affect their prosperity. So when we say, for instance, a refugee, it's basically a displaced person with a lifelong negative impact, either in their health or in their development, with some psychosocial or emotional well-being. And it can have, of course, certain effects in their situation and in their newly adopted life. So the element from which we need to balance the structure of their settlement is we need to know what's the barrier and the frustration, and we need to raise hope and help with the frustration, and if there is any thing that need to be addressed and apply resolution. And we need to also address the supporting of the autonomy and the healing in terms of fleeing, finding, and flourishing. And as I mentioned, the language can be a barrier as well, so we need to address that. And if it comes, if they have children or adolescent, which is in a critical situation or critical age, we need to be aware of the barrier or the culture, because adolescent or children, they are still considered as so in certain culture until they get married and have their own life. So it's completely different from the Western terms. And we need to also, of course, employ confidentiality when it comes to adolescent, unless there is the element of self-harm or safeguarding, or if there's harm to others in that condition, we need to disclose. And always we need to take into consideration their mental health. If there is anything that you feel it's not right, you need to signpost it and address it. And also we need to, when we do the consultation with them, we need to do like a comprehensive review, a detailed one, as I mentioned early on, because it's a major thing with a change in their own life from where they've been come through. And we need to understand also their lived experience and how we can address that and help it in order to move forward rather than being secluded. So we need to know the detail of the family culture, post-arrival assessment and screening if there is a need for that, and if there is any sexual health information that we need to raise and address as well. And we need to explain the things around this area in the local law terms, like for instance different in the UK and in Australia. And we need to know also think about which those factors can affect negatively in their neuro-cognitive development, like for instance the environmental toxin, food insecurity, of course the exposure to war and trauma and its consequences, and also certain factors like if there is any consequence marriage, and if they are relative, and food insecurity if there is any deficiency, for instance, in certain nutrient like vitamin B12, iron. All of that will affect the neurocognitive development, especially in children and adolescents who are growing. And we need to address the strength and the protective factor in refugee and asylum-seeking children. So, for instance, strong cultural identity is very important, and a strong belief system. And also, if there is extensive family and community network, which can be socially inclusive and encouraging for them to connect and to know like a broad attachment to the nuclear family and the culture where they come from. And also we need to do certain routines like health screening. So for instance, as we all know, can be HIV, syphilis, rubella, varicella, probably other diseases like local ones if there is a need. And also we need to review their mental and dental health. So if there is a need for dental issue, then we need to address as well. And also if there is any immunization that's is not taken, maybe we need to do catch up or just make sure that this one has been addressed. In certain places, they consider also serology for systemiasis or strongylitis. That's in Australia. However, in the UK, as far as I know, it's about certain health check and certain serology, and of course, after consenting with the patient, if they are happy to do so. So this is basically just a few points that I read and thought to share with you, because I know there is a lot of GP surgery that they link with certain areas like asylum and refugee. So because the issue that they might see in those kind of clinics is completely different from the one they see in the routine or as the usual in the UK. So it will be helpful and be mindful to those kind of things in order to address them and make probably life easier for a refugee and asylum applying in the UK. Let me know if you have come across those kind of things, and if you have any things that you would like to share in the comment down below, and I will come back to you. Thank you.